The ocean. It covers 2/3 of our planet and is home to millions of marine species. But it's changing, and not for the better. It may be huge, but it's not immune from humanity. For thousands of years, humans have fished in the ocean, and even today 1/5 of the world relies on it to survive. That's over 1 billion people. As a result, 120 million tons of fish are caught each year. And because of this, 90% of all large predatory fish, such as tuna, swordfish, and sharks, are now gone. Salmon, cod, and bass are among the most popular catches, and to meet this demand, fishermen are forced to go further and further out to sea to find fertile waters to catch from. To meet the growing demand for fish, fishermen have started to use dynamite and cyanide to capture more fish, but by far the most effective means have been trawling vessels.
There are trawling vessels that cast nets with an opening of up to 23,000 meters squared, the size of 4 football pitches, and big enough to hold 13 jumbo jets, or more commonly, more than 500 tons.
These vessels drag a large net along the bottom of the floor and scoop up everything. As a result, we have a global fishing fleet that is 250 times larger than what the ocean can withstand. These fishermen are literally catching fish quicker than they can reproduce. Larger fish are not sexually active until they're 6 years old, but many are caught before they mature properly, leaving fish colonies with no means of reproduction and no hope of survival. Scientists have declared that no more than 10,000 tons of fish can be caught every day, but fishermen are catching over 61,000 tons of fish every day. It's having catastrophic effects on our environment. If this dangerous trend continues, we're going to witness a complete breakdown of the food chain, and only the plants and microscopic organisms are going to be left. And it's not just the taste of plankton that is bad. To survive underwater, plankton take in CO2. Too much plankton means there's too much CO2. These CO2 molecules combine with water to form carbonic acid. This carbonic acid is the major cause of ocean acidification, which results in higher temperature in the water. Scientists have found that the ocean's temperature has risen over 0.5 degree Celsius in the last century. Cod and other large fish cannot reproduce at these higher temperatures, greatly handicapping them in the fight against overfishing. And it's not just fish that can't cope. Overfishing and its indirect impacts are severely damaging the coral reef and the fragile ecosystems that they support. Besides being vibrant and beautiful, coral reefs offer food and protection for over 1 million unique marine species. That's 1/4 of all species living in the ocean. They are vital to the well-being of the ocean, and overfishing is slowly destroying one of nature's most amazing creations. The acidification of the ocean is one of the leading causes of coral bleaching, a process by which the little organisms in the coral are expelled, which turns the coral white and makes it more vulnerable. Overfishing is having more direct impacts to the coral reef because fishermen have started to hunt different fish, namely grouper. Grouper is a large reef fish that has become very popular in East Asia, and over 90 million were caught in 2009. When you get rid of the grouper, damselfish flourish.
Damselfish are these little fish, and what they do, they make little yards on the bottom of the reef. And in order to make place for one of these yards, they basically kill the coral.
Once tall, colorful, brilliant corals and sea life are now destroyed, lying dead and broken on the bottom of the ocean.
And even the world's largest reef is feeling the effects.
Happening to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. A new study finds that one of the world's great natural wonders and its largest coral system is in decline. Researchers at the Australian Institute of Marine Science say the reef has lost half of its coral cover over the past 27 years.
and the world's largest living organism, home to millions of fish, will be destroyed. There are those who aren't willing to condemn the coral reefs to destruction or the fish to extinction. Greenpeace is one organisation that is fighting back against fishermen and overfishing with its Save the Whale movement. They go out in small boats to harass and protest against shipping vessels, often while being drenched in water by the fishermen themselves. They go right up to the fishing boats with signs to protest the fishing practices and the huge amounts of catch the fishermen bring in. This is a protest in Turkey, and that sign roughly translates to "Stop illegal hunting." PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, has its own campaign involving a number of posters. And some are a little bit more outrageous than others.
Sea kittens. That is the new term being used by People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA, for the creatures they believe are in dire need of an image makeover: fish. Here's PETA campaign coordinator Ashley Byrne.
PETA thought that by renaming fish sea kittens, that compassionate people who would never dream of hurting a dog or a cat might extend that sympathy to fish or sea kittens.
The WWF, or World Wildlife Fund, also has a campaign which is trying to increase compassion for fish by comparing them to more exotic creatures like rhinos, pandas, and gorillas. Despite these efforts, the future of the ocean does not look bright. An empty sea and an empty supermarket. This could be the future of our world and our ocean.